Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the Winding Road Podcast. It is a glorious day on the Winding Road, and I want to tell you the story about my history with the number 11 and how we can take numbers and how people do take numbers and look at them as meaning things, and they see them. There's definitely a difference between looking for them and then not looking for them and just, whoa, wow, that happened. Like I wasn't even looking for that or expecting that. And it's hard to know the difference sometimes when that is happening. Maybe we'll dive into that a little bit deeper towards the end of it, but I just want to tell you a story right now about my history with the number 11 and what it's meant to me and how it's guided me in my life, and how what happened recently with everything that I've been going through and some of the things that I've mentioned to you from a philosophical standpoint of trying to have mindfulness and gaining knowledge and understanding. It was just incredible, man. And let's get there now by starting with the history of it. For the longest time, my number one bucket list item in my life was to go to the World Series. I grew up loving baseball. I've written an entire novel about that. It's coming out next spring no matter what. I have to release it. Not, I'm going to go insane because it's been a long time since I've been trying to get it published, and it is ready. And I hope you'll read it someday. I still love baseball. My love for it has gone down some, but I still love it very, very much. I loved it as a child. It was my favorite sport. Still is, I'd say. I like a lot of other sports very closely, and I watch basketball probably now more than I watch baseball, but baseball was my true love, you know, if you want to put it that way. So that was why my number one thing was to go to the World Series, okay? Throughout my childhood, my favorite baseball player was the Cardinal great shortstop, Ozzie Smith. 13, I believe he won 13 gold gloves. Wasn't always wasn't the greatest hitter, but he was a clutch hitter, and he used to come out and do the backflips before opening day every year, and he did it like during the All-Star game. I think, maybe just random times throughout the season, I don't know, but I thought that was really, really cool, and I always admired his defense. To me, he is the greatest defensive shortstop of all time, still to this day, and a lot of people feel the same way. Hey. And because of that, I always loved him. And I was an absolutely outstanding center fielder, best center fielder in our conference defensively. I wasn't always the best hitter either, but I was a good hitter. I was a leadoff hitter. And that's why he was my favorite player, man, because of those reasons. So that's why I wore the number 1. And that's where it originated from. I believe it originated just from God in the universe, and it was all meant to happen. But when I got to high school, the number 1, there was no number 1 jersey, You had whatever jerseys that everybody else wore in the years before you until the school decided to get new jerseys, and they didn't have the number 1 for whatever reason. So I was like, well, do you got number 11? Yeah, cool. So I started wearing number 11. And then the year 2011 rolls around. Keep in mind, number 1 bucket list item, go to the World Series. I had an opportunity through my radio sportscasting career to get some tickets for a discounted price, so I was able to afford them, and my family was able to afford them, and we were able to go to the 2011 World Series. Roll it up to, I think it was game 2, actually, where we got there in time for batting practice, and Derek Holland, Texas Rangers left-handed starting pitcher, threw a ball into the stands, and I got it, man. Yeah, that was just such a great, awesome moment. Awesome. Game 6 rolls around. Cardinals are trailing the series 3-2. But I had complete faith and felt like it was destiny that they would win that World Series because they were going for their 11th World Championship in the history of their franchise, and the year was 2011. And I was seeing, that was when I started to see, but that year, even before they made it to the World Series, I started to see the 1s and 11s all the time in random different points in my life, and I didn't necessarily know exactly why then. I was just seeing them, but I had faith and thought it was destiny. They were going to win that World Series. And they're down to their last strike. Their last strike in Game 6, bottom of the 9th. The hometown hero, David Freese, the St. Louis area born native kid. We're sitting in the right field bleachers, and I get goosebumps even telling the story. I watched the video the other day, and my body was tingling again. Every time I watch it, man. We're down to our last strike. We're sitting in the right field bleachers. David Freese is up to bat. Think of these waves and these emotions, the roller coaster of this ride, of me thinking that it's destiny, and yet here we are down to our last strike. I'm like, he's got to get a hit. He's going to get a hit. I know it. He can do it. I know he's going to do it. It's fate. It's destiny. Fly ball, right field. It's hit pretty deep, and it's coming right at us. And then it's dropping, and you cannot see the warning track in that area from where we are sitting. So the ball goes out of sight. The right fielder goes out of sight. Nelson Cruz goes out of sight. For a split moment, it was like time was suspended. And we didn't see it, but the next thing I hear is the roar of the crowd because the ball fell down, bounced up against the wall, and David Freese slides into third base, got a triple, and tied the game. He tied the game. Next inning, we give up 2 runs. And guess what? We're down to our last strike again. Back in that same spot, man. Just the ups and downs, the roller coasters of that game. Absolutely unbelievable. And many people, and it is on almost every single list that I've seen, and it's at a number 1 in my mind and a lot of other people's minds, as that was the greatest game in the history of the sport of baseball. We're down to our last strike again in the 10th inning. Lance Berkman comes up with a big hit. We tie the game again. And we're going to, guess what inning, guys? The bottom of the 11th inning. Who comes up to bat again? David Freese, the hometown hero. Walk-off home run, dead center field. We'll see you tomorrow night, is what Joe Buck called it on the TV broadcast for Fox, which was a recall and a nod to his father, the late, great Jack Buck, who said that for another significant game in the history of baseball. And I can't remember which one that was right now. That sucks, but we'll have to move on. See you tomorrow night. And by God, if they didn't win Game 7, and I was there to witness it, and I was able to check off the number 1 bucket list item with the greatest game in my mind, like I said, a lot of other people's minds, the greatest game in the history of baseball, man. And that was just absolutely incredible. It was one of the greatest things that ever happened to me in my life. And it was destiny. Full belief. It was 11 in 11. 11th franchise championship in the year 2011. Unbelievable, man. And I remember like November 11th, after all that happened, 11/11, and then it was 11/11 on the time, and that was just so freaking cool, man. Just so cool. And I remember during that World Series, and I was telling my mama, I'm seeing all these things. It's fate. And we go out to eat. I think it was after Game 2. We're going to Texas Roadhouse. Might have been what's the other one's name? I don't know. Damn it. There's another one. But anyways, we were at one of those, and we're walking in, and I'm telling my mom all about the stuff. And what does the sign say on the door? Try our 11 new entrees. I'm just like, see? I'm telling you, it's fate. And it was. And just all these different things. And I could go down a list of them. I made a list because it would just happen, and they happened for a long time. And then they went away. Every now and then, I will see them again. And I saw them again the other night, and it was just total proof. I already know there's a greater power. There's the more. There's God. That's what I believe. Full faith. Again, always. Never judge anybody for what they believe. But there are way too many signs that tell me that there is, man. And well, so what happened the other night, going through the storm, dealing with a lot of big issues, trying to work things out that are unsettled. So I send the person that I'm having the issues with a video message, because I told them I didn't want to communicate through text message. I didn't think that was a great way to communicate. I may have already mentioned this on the last podcast. If I did and you've already heard it, I apologize. But so instead of responding to them with text, I sent them a video message. And they sent me a video message back. And their video message to me was exactly 11 minutes and 11 seconds long. And it got finished downloading at 11:11. If that's not a sign from God, wow, I don't know what is, because oh boy, unbelievable, man. 11:11 and 11:11, clear as day. And I put in stock into that was from God and was a sign from God that I am aligned, that I have faith, everything, and I know everything's going to be great with everything that was going on. And I worked it out with this person since then, and like we're moving forward with love and kindness, and it's just absolutely beautiful. I'm a better person for everything that's happened with that, and for all the things that happen with things of said nature. And you know, if you ask Google what the number 1111 means, it says that it is a sign from the universe, from our spirit guides, if you will, that we are aligned with where we're supposed to be. We're doing what we're supposed to be. I don't know if that made sense or that was grammatically said properly, but we'll move on. We're aligned with our spirit guys, man, and we're in the right spot. And whenever we see those things, that's a sign from the universe that we're in the right spot. And a lot of times I saw them, you know, and it's also a note that you need to be focused and need to be conscious and clear of everything that's going on and the path that you're on. So sometimes I saw those 11s whenever I was doing things that I weren't supposed to be doing. And that was like, hey, God's like trying to wake me up, make me realize that I'm not where I should be and that I maybe need to get aligned. So yes, it can be used in positive aspects to say, hey, you are aligned, but it can also be used to get you to focus and to have you have a better understanding that maybe you do need to get it back in alignment if it's out of alignment. And sometimes it's hard to see and notice a difference, but it became easier and easier over time for me to see and understand whenever I see those things. So just, you know, maybe if you want to, keep that stuff in mind. Maybe you already realize that. Everybody's different. Yeah, it was just a beautiful thing. And yeah, just my beliefs on that stuff. Yeah, full believer in numbers and everything like that. If you crunch it down, to a universe aspect, like, and you look at it, mathematics and everything, that all ties into the universe and how everything works, man. It's all a part of it. So I think that God, the more, does put those things there for us to see and realize and recognize, and anything, man, just outside of numbers. Like I said, going back to just the wonders of nature and everything with that. There's so many signs around us that point to God and just how much love there is by everything that was created for this earth, for the universe, for just existence in general, man. It's crazy to think sometimes, like, what if nothing ever existed at all? Like, whoa, boy, like that's crazy. That's crazy to think about. I'm so glad that everything does exist and that I'm here. And that's just a reverence thing of just looking at life as just such a blessing. Even if we're, it's so horrible and we're maybe in dark places, it's still, man, I tell people, how you doing? I'm good. It doesn't matter, good days or bad days, I'm blessed. And the positives, are so much better, more than the negatives, no matter how hard that is for us to see sometimes, guys. I challenge you to try to see that, man. I definitely do, and will continue to try to even get better about seeing it even more and more and more and more and more. And that's the path I'm on. Here to love, inspire, and unite. And to top that off, the story of the other night, here I am. Here God shows me all these freaking things. Yet here I am after I listened to that person's message and, realizing the 11:11 and all that stuff. I was just like, God, man, the only thing that could top this off right now is if I see a shooting star. That's one of my favorite things in life. In my top 100, to see shooting stars. I just think they're so cool. The meteorites and whatnot. They're not actually stars, obviously, but the meteorites coming down, the remnants of that and the debris and whatnot, and I just think it's just, I love it, man. I love it. And I'm so thankful I'm in a place where I'm able to see the stars pretty good, whenever I go into the mountains and stuff sometimes, and I'm at a higher altitude and I can see them even better. I have even more reverence for it, man, and it's just awesome. It's so cool. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, God, man, the only thing that could top this off would be to see a shooting star. And then I was like, you know what, God, no, I don't need to see one. You don't need to show me one, because I already know you exist. For everything that you did, clear as day, with the numbers and everything, man. And I was like, thank you for doing that. Thank you for my life. I don't need to see a shooting star. It's all good. What happens? Less than 5 minutes later, here comes a shooting star across the sky, man. And I just, wow. Just I about fell to my knees, just in so much awe and reverence of life. It was just freaking absolutely outstanding. Thank you for joining me today on The Winding Road. This has been a story about the history of my number 11 and about a little bit of philosophy about what I think that numbers mean and how they can help guide us throughout all of our days. I'm me. You're you. We are each other. Love, inspire, unite. God bless.